Oh, well, hello there, you beautiful, wonderful, magical, incredible, intelligent human being. I'm Andrea Dawn, and today we are here for a yoga asana flow. This flow is good for your whole entire body and being. However, part of it and the message of it is sometimes less is more. So you'll see in some of the postures, we take out some pieces that we traditionally practice so that we can put more emphasis on other spaces. So let's get started. And we'll start in a seat, ears over shoulders, over hips. Big inhalation through the nose, open your mouth, sigh it out. Here I am. Arrive in your body and your breath in this moment is the most important one because it's the one you're living. It's the one you get to occupy and experience. Let's interlace the fingers and bring the hands across the chest in Vrajapradama Mudra, a mudra of empowerment. And begin to lengthen and deepen your breath and set an intention for the practice. This intention is like your North Star. So when we decide to filter, that becomes what we see. And what we're doing with our intention is choosing to filter millions of external stimuli so that we can point our ship in the direction that we choose to go. Make this intention one word. And as you practice and get distracted, because you will, you'll come back to this one word over and over and over again. And then bring a smile to your lips. Flutter your eyes open, circle out your wrists, and we'll get started. So we're going to start today down onto our backs and do a short warm-up before we start our flow portion of the class. So come down onto your backs. Align the heels slightly forward of your knees, arms down next to the sides of the body, and we'll start with some rolling bridges. So it's always helpful to warm up the spine before we get into our practice. So from here, press the low belly or the belly down so that you can feel the low back press into the mat. And then gently lift your hips, low back, middle back, upper back, and then you'll lower back down, upper back, middle back, low back, bum. And just continue this and link it with your breath. Remember, your breath initiates the movement, so that's part of the yoking or the unification, bringing all of the different parts of us together so we can experience ourselves as whole. Now you might start to add the arms, and I'm here to encourage you to be curious, to try new things, to not think you know or think I know, but you are the expert in your body, and you are the authority to either take the cues I give or toss the cues that I give. Good, and then the next time the bum is down, keep it down. Take the arms out to a T or cactus arms, heel toe the feet wide, and windshield wiper the legs. Heel toe the feet back together, draw the knees in towards the chest, extend the legs up high, circle out the ankles. Circle them in the other direction. Good, then start some bicycles with the legs. So just like you're riding a bike, and then make those bicycles move in the other direction. And then the next time that your right leg is up, keep the right leg up, extend the left leg long. Take the hands, interlace them behind the ankle, the calf, the hamstring. Right, if you feel shaking or trembling, it's probably an indication that you've gone a little too far. But you can explore things like finding opposition, pressing the leg into the held hands. I also like to bring the leg slightly across center. So when I bring the leg to the midline, for me, I feel a little bit more in my IT band. You can also experiment with changing your foot. So like if you're flexing the foot, pointing the toe, turning it in, turning it out. Good. Then let's take the leg all the way across the body into a spinal twist. Arms back out to a T or cactus arms, and the gaze over the right shoulder. Bring the right leg back across through center and all the way out towards the right. You can use the right hand to rest underneath the outside of the right leg for support, or maybe the leg goes down and that's okay for you. Remember, it's always a distinction or a deciphering of or a tuning into the subtleties of how much is enough. My partner likes to say, more doesn't equal better, better equals better. All right, bring that leg back to center, hug both knees back into the chest. Good, then you'll extend the left leg up high and the right leg out long. Hands interlaced behind the ankle, the calf, the hamstring. And here's where you might get curious and explore changing the position of the leg, the position of the foot. And your job, like a radio dial, is just to tune into subtlety. So when the mind starts to think about what's next, what you're having for dinner, if you're going out on a date, whatever it is, you come back to being with your body. It deserves your attention. And then all the way over into a spinal twist. We give the mind so much attention throughout our day. So we get to take this time and space and devote it to our body and our breath. And this gets to influence then the way that our mind works, right? Because we want to be in charge of it and not have it in charge of us. And then back across and all the way out towards the left, where you might use the hand as a support. You might bend the knee a little bit. Good, we'll bring the leg back through center, bend the knee, extend the leg out long, reach the arms overhead, big stretch, and then all the way up to all fours. So however you want to get there. We're going to come to all fours and immediately walk the hands in towards the knees and up onto the hips, where we'll do some hip circles, maybe some figure eights with the hips. So before we start to flow, we just want to make sure that we touch base with the spine, flexion, extension, circumduction, and some side bending. So let's do some side bending now. You'll lean over towards the left. This left hand can come down the left side body and reach the right arm overhead, and then over to the other side. Maybe you find some stillness, or maybe you flow this. Good. Clasp the hands behind the back. Drag your held hands down towards the earth. Sit back onto your heels. And then maybe just start to see about folding forward and lifting the held hands away from you. This might be plenty. Or you could see about moving one shoulder in towards the midline and then the other shoulder in towards the midline. Back to all fours, and we will start our flow. So we're going to meet in our downward facing dog. Plant the hands, spread them a little wider than shoulder width distance, spread the fingers, grip through the finger pads, spiral the eye of the elbow forward, draw the armpits back, tuck the toes, keep the knees bent, lift the hips, lift the hips, lift the hips, lift the hips, press the heels back and down. Nice and slow, move with your breath. Remember, it initiates the movement. Inhale to lift the right leg. Exhale to step the right foot in between the palms. Drop down onto the left knee. Kickstand the left foot. Windmill the arms up. We're in a modified warrior 2. So just check in that the shoulders are over the hips. So we're not leaning one way or the other. And then you can shift your gaze over the right middle finger. Good, now clasp the hands behind you. Clasp the opposite thumb on top than you did before when we just did this. Reach the held hands down towards the earth and then fold to the inside of the right leg. Come on back up, and as you do, left hand stays behind the low back. Reach the right arm forward, flip the palm towards the sky. We're going to reverse this. So we'll start to side bend over towards the left. I'm going to stamp down through my right foot and let the movement happen in the side body. Keep some space between your shoulder and your ear. We're not going to stay here long. And then we're just going to reverse that. Now right hand meets left behind the low back. Extend the left arm. Reverse. So now you're side bending towards your front bent knee. Good. Now we're going to take this towards the front of the mat. So what we're going to do is take the left foot straight back, left elbow to outer right knee. So I'm in this lunge hook position. From there, let's lift up. Tuck the left toes, lift the left leg. Steady your breath. Scissor the legs. Imagine you're drawing a diagonal line between the right heel and the left toes, and you're trying to shorten up that diagonal. Good, now we're gonna lift up and over towards the back of the mat. Keep the right hand behind the low back. So we lift, this left arm is gonna reach up and over as you turn the right foot in, left foot now towards the back of the mat, which will become the front of the mat. Heel toe the left foot into its own track, meet left hand to right hand. Clasp the hands. Here we go once again into this humble position, which we've done a few times now. Bend into the knee and fold to the inside of the left leg. You can experiment with pulling the hands apart or keeping the palms pressed. Good, now we're going to come to a halfway lift so the spine is neutral. Pivot onto the ball mound of the right foot. And we're going to come up to a figure 4. So that means I'm going to have to lift, cross right ankle over left, release the hands, bring them to high prayer. Now as I sink down into my figure 4, prayed hands come to chest level. Flex the right foot. See if you can keep a neutral spine. Affix your gaze or your drishti, right, about 7 to 8 feet in front of you on an unmoving point, unless you want to challenge it, which might mean closing the eyes or affixing it on something moving. Now we're just going to come up to stand, and as we do, step the right foot in front of the left so my feet are crossed. Okay, pinky to pinky toe. And then just notice what's happening here. Let's see if we can level out and find a neutral spine. Reach the arms up high. Push down through the big toe mounds of the feet and fold forward into a sciatic fold. For some of us, dangling might be great. For some of us, we might bring the hands all the way down. Notice how the weight is distributed in your feet. See if changing that changes the feeling. You could sway. You could walk your hands from side to side. Right, and the options I'm giving you are just scratching the surface, just to kind of give you a framework so that you get to be creative and come up with what works for you. Now we're going to step this right foot back. So for some of us, that's going to be really hard on the hamstring. So what I found to be helpful is to walk the hands forward, bend the knees. I'm on tented fingers onto the tiptoes of this right foot, and then I'm going to step it back. Windmill the arms up. We're going to warrior 2 front. So I'm going to shift the legs so my right knee is now bent. Level the hips, shoulders over hips, arms to a T. So we're not leaning to one side or the other. See if you can allow the shoulders to relax down away from the ears. So it's still intentional, like the crown is still drawing up, the shoulders back and down. You can reach the fingertips away from you at the same time drawing the arms in, right? There's always opposition happening. Now here's where we're going to remove some elements to feel maybe a little bit different or experience sensations in a greater degree. So both hands come behind the low back. Heel toe the left foot in and straighten the right leg. Start with level hips. So we're taking a variation of triangle pose without the arms. So from here, I'm just going to start to tilt my pelvis and lean over towards the right. Notice if you start to turn down, see if you can keep the heart and chest so that it's parallel to the long side of your mat. Notice if this left shoulder starts to cave in. See if you can draw that back. Make your head comfortable and your neck comfortable. So for some of us, that might mean looking down. Some of us, it might mean looking up. Some of us, it might mean looking forward. Engage the right quad. And now instead of just a lowering feeling in the right side body, we want to feel a lift in the right side body. And when we take away the element of the arm, we get away from worrying about, is the hand down, is it not down, are we touching the floor? Good, now find a lift. We're going to do the same thing for our reverse triangle. So we start with level hips, and we're going to keep the hips level. And just try and find that length in the side body as you lengthen towards the back of your mat. Steady your breath. Good, then we'll lift, and we're gonna do the same thing with our warrior three. So I'm gonna heel toe this left foot in even more, then turn forward, pivot on the ball mound of the left foot. Now for some of us, taking the arms out to a T might help with balance, but for some of us, it might be a fun challenge to experience warrior three with the hands on the back. So for this is helpful so that we can feel that our hips are level. The tendency is to go here. Right, so if your foot is turned out, it's probably because your hips are not level. It's no big deal. We're just seeing if we can get the hip points level and then find alignment between the head, the heart, the hips, and the heel. Maybe you then stretch your arms back, and maybe that feels like a little spaciousness between the crown and the shoulders. Good, then from here we'll flow it out. So step the left foot back, plant the hands down, step the right foot back. So you have a flow, go ahead and go into it. I'm gonna offer a beginner flow where you drop the knees. Rock the heart and chest forward, bend the elbows straight back, lower down. Plant the tops of the feet, feel the pubic bones press. Find a lift, think about lifting from the mid to the upper back to all fours, and into your downward facing dog, where we'll repeat that on the other side. So I'm going to switch the front of my mat so I'm still facing you. From downward facing dog, recall your intention and find a smile. Inhale to lift your left leg. Exhale to step your left foot in between the palms. Drop your right knee. Kickstand that foot, windmill the arms up. Modified warrior two. So I'm going to try to speak a little less on this side so that you can really tune into sensation. Maybe recall a cue or fashion your own. Clasp the hands behind the back. Fold to the inside of the left leg. Bring it on back up. Keep the right hand behind the back. Extend the left arm. Reverse. Bring it on back up. Left hand behind the low back. Extend the right. Reach towards the front bent knee. Now turn forward. Kickstand the right foot back. Right elbow meets outer left knee. Tuck the left toes. Lift the right leg. We're in this lunge hook position. Keep the left hand behind the back. Lift up and over towards the back of your mat. Clasp the hands. Turn the feet. Heel toe the right foot into its own track. Bend into the right knee. Then fold to the inside of the right knee for humble warrior. Find a halfway lift. Pivot on the ball mound of the left foot. Big step to figure four. It could also be hops, right? Like we don't have to jump from 0 to 100. We get to move in small increments. Remember, transitions take just as much practice as the actual postures themselves. So if throughout this you find one of these transitions to be interesting or tricky, come back to it. Practice it. The quality of our practice equates to the quality of our attention, not the shape. All right, up to stand, step left foot in front of right. Reach the prayed hands up high, fold forward. Walk the hands forward, tent the fingers, lean forward, come onto the tiptoe of the left foot, step the left foot back, windmill the arms up, warrior two front. Good, now here's where we remind ourselves that less can be more. Both hands behind the back, straighten the left leg, heel toe the right foot in. Then start to tilt your pelvis, modified triangle pose. You might equate this off of the mat. Where could less be more? Bring it back up and reverse your triangle. I find more length in the left side body when I really stamp down through the left foot, engage the quad. Opposition between left foot and left side body. Good, now we lift, pivot onto the ball mound of the right foot, face forward, and here we can go into whatever variation of warrior three. And then an opportunity to flow from here. This time I'll demo a different flow. So we'd come to our high plank position. From high plank position, bend the elbows, they move straight back, chaturanga. Arms at 90 degrees. Good, from here over the toes, see if you can keep the thighs lifted, spiral them down. Lift through the heart and chest, upward facing dog, and then into your downward facing dog. Revisit your relationship with your breath right now, your intention, your smile, and we'll move through that one more time, a little bit more fluidly this time. So you have the roadmap, you know where we're going, feel free to modify, feel free to expand. Downward facing dog, inhale to lift the right leg. Option to bend and open, see if you can keep the shoulders square. Step the right foot in between the palms, down onto the left knee. Kickstand that foot, windmill it up, modified warrior two. Clasp the hands, fold to the inside of the right knee. Lift it back up, left hand behind the back, extend the right, flip the palm, reverse. Lift back up, right hand meets left, left arm extends. Reverse. Come forward, left elbow to hook right knee. Lift. Humble warrior back of the mat. So we clasp hands, get the left foot in its own track and fold. Rise up halfway, set yourself up for a figure four. We lift, hands meet at high prayer and then lower. Up to stand, right foot in front of left, feet are crossed. Fold forward, sciatic fold. Walk the hands forward, tent the fingers, tiptoe of right foot, step it back. Warrior two front. Less is more triangle pose, hands behind the back, heel toe the left foot in, tilt the pelvis. Reverse your triangle. Come on back up into warrior three. You might hold your warrior three, you might take another posture, or my invitation is for a Kundalini's descent, to bring the left knee to the back of the right and the hands through prayer as you curl in. From here, you might just work that, right? From warrior three, Kundalini's descent, or maybe you open that up into a half moon posture. Now, wherever you are, start to make your way into a flow. There's always the opportunity for a one leg flow, right? Where this one right leg would go up. You come forward. Now, as you come into chaturanga, the moment my elbows come to 90, I'm going to land my right foot. So I'm lowering, 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 lowering. Right foot hits 90 degrees. Upward facing, downward facing. Here we recommit. We recommit to our intention, our breath, and we'll make our way through left side. Inhale to lift your left leg. Option to bend. See if you can keep the weight in the hands level or even. Step the left foot in between the palms, come down onto the right knee. Kickstand the foot, windmill the arms up. Modified warrior two. Clasp the hands. Fold to the inside of the left leg. Bring it on back up. Right hand behind the low back, extend the left arm, reverse. Back through center, left hand meets right, extend right, reverse. Right elbow to hook left knee as you kickstand the right foot back, tuck the toes, lift, lunge, hook. Into humble back of the mat. Meet the hands behind the back, get the right foot in its own track, fold. Come on up halfway, pivot onto the ball mound of the left foot, figure four. Step left foot in front of right, the feet are crossed, fold forward. Step the left foot back, land it down, windmill the arms up, warrior two front. Less is more triangle pose. Reverse your less is more triangle pose. Warrior three. And now perhaps here you take the variation of Kundalini's descent and you're practicing that transition, evening it out. Or maybe you find Kundalini's descent, you pause, and then you open up into half moon pose. When you're ready, this would be our last round of flow. And we will meet in a child's pose. Walk your hands over towards the right. Left hand might cross over right. Press your bum towards the back left corner of the mat. You could push your hands down and forward to really find that position. Back through center and over towards the left. Right hand could cross left. The bum to press towards the back right corner and they press the hands down and forward. Walk the hands forward, hips over the knees, walk the arms forward, puppy dog pose. So just keep walking the arms forward as you start to lower the chest. Notice if you're dumping into the low back, so you might need to lift the belly button a little bit up towards the spine, or think like you're pointing the tail down. Come onto the forearms. Walk the knees back so you come onto the belly. And then from here, we'll just take the arms out wide to a T and move from side to side. So as you do that, you'll draw one hand in towards the chest and step that foot behind you. Good. Back onto the belly, cross the hands, stack the hands, rest the forehead onto the hands, bend the knees and circle out the legs. So again, we're just reconnecting with the spine, taking care of the spine before we settle into our final rest. And then from there, lift the head, just flip yourself onto your back. And into our final resting position, our Savasana or our corpse pose. So for a traditional corpse pose, legs are about mats with distance, feet splayed out to the side, arms 6 inches off the sides of the body, palms face up. Sometimes, depending on our flexibility, a Supta Baddha Konasana can be nice in your final resting position. We just want to place our bodies into a position where we feel completely at ease so that we get to melt into the space that surrounds us, so that we're not having any energetic action happening from our physical body. And this is our metaphorical death. This is a place that activates our parasympathetic nervous system. This is a place of integration and healing, and can sometimes be described as a place that is neither here nor there. And I hope you have time to stay and be here. It takes about 15 minutes to activate your parasympathetic nervous system. So knowing that Shavasana starts after that activation. I'm so honored to yoga with you. I'm so excited and overjoyed to walk the path of yoga with anybody who's excited about it, and learn about you and learn about how this practice can expand our consciousness and our kindness and our ability to love ourselves and to love the world around us. My heart sees and feels and smiles to yours. Namaste, yogis.